Have you ever been told that talking to yourself is the first sign of madness? Well, it's dangerous phrases like that I am on a campaign to get rid of. And I want to tell you why you should learn how to talk to yourself out loud as a sign of health. Hello, I'm Naomi Light and I'm a life coach, and in this episode I am exploring the science of verbal affirmations, or why we should all be talking to ourselves out loud. Yes, I did say out loud. There have been some great initiatives around the UK to reduce the stigma that comes with mental health. The Royal Charity Heads Together was launched in 2014 and aims to create powerful conversations about mental health. But in my opinion, it's popularised phrases like talking to yourself is the first sign of madness that has shaped a cultural phobia around mental health, and we do need to change the conversation. As a life coach, I encourage my clients to use verbal affirmation as a form of journaling. I'm going to explain why this works and how you can lose the associations between talking to yourself and madness and start benefiting from this therapeutic tool. So, why can TTY be a good thing? Number 1, externalizing. Just like journaling, talking out loud to yourself is a way of externalizing your thoughts and feelings. And just like with a journal, the process of expressing ourselves actually shapes our thoughts and feelings. So TTY will change what you think. Some of the things that you say about yourself inside of your head you would never want to put into words, even if no one's listening. So verbal affirmation helps sort out your thoughts and moderate them. Number 2, verbal affirmation is good for distancing. Once your thoughts have been externalized through verbal affirmation, distance from them has been created. You can now observe and reflect on them. They are no longer you. They're just a part of you, and that is a huge difference. Negative feelings behave a bit like fungi. They grow in the dark. So getting them out into the light using your mouth and your voice, speaking to yourself out loud, actually causes negative emotions to shrink. Number 3, observing. The benefits talking to yourself has over journaling is that it's more instant and it's more an intense experience. While this can be a hard thing if the emotions you are expressing are particularly raw or painful, it is fantastic if what you're struggling with is disconnection and numbness. It increases the intensity and the learning about your emotions. Have you ever been shocked by hearing something coming out of your mouth? It's a common experience. The reason why TTY is more intense is it involves more of your senses. It's a bit like when you go to the movies, the experience is intense and memorable, so you can create memorable experiences for yourself. Try saying things out loud so you can hear yourself say them. Even better, say them out loud whilst looking in the mirror. Then you can hear yourself and see yourself say them. And then fourthly, connecting. What most of us live unaware of is that we have a relationship with ourselves. The same way every other relationship is shaped by our experiences, our relationship with ourselves is shaped by the experiences, the thoughts, the feelings, the behaviour we have throughout our lives. But it acts a little bit like the wallpaper effect, shrinking into the background so that we just can't even remember that it's there. But I think the relationship we have with ourselves is the most important relationship we have at all. So TTY can become one part of you having a conversation with another part of you. And the stronger and deeper your connection is with yourself, the better your mental, emotional, and relational health would be. Think about what your most confident self would say. Or how about your most caring self? What would your inner wisdom say? Talk to yourself using these voices. I promise you, good things will happen. I've had the habit for about 5 years or so now of crafting verbal affirmations and repeating them out loud every day. I put down the things in my verbal affirmations I would most like to hear myself say, the things I most want to be true of myself, the things I most want to experience. And then I say them confidently out loud. Something I regularly get asked about verbal affirmations is, how about if I don't believe the things I'm saying? Am I not just talking nonsense? And I tell people that it's a bit like having layers. There's different layers to you, and what you believe at one layer, you may not believe at another. Speaking verbal affirmations comes from your deepest held desires and beliefs. Even if your logical brain is saying, this is nonsense, this is never going to work, it doesn't matter. Scientifically speaking, the experience of hearing yourself say repeatedly verbal affirmations just as powerful as whether you believe them as whether you don't believe them. So ignore how you feel about them, concentrate on the repetition of the action. Hear yourself, see yourself, say them. Your brain will then translate that information into the future action, and you will start behaving like those things you said are true. And this actually is the basis for all the thoughts about the law of attraction. Your brain is marvelous, wonderful, and you can use it. So how do I actually begin talking to myself out loud? Okay, here the key is little and often. Try to create an automatic reflex of verbal affirmations whenever you have something to process. If you need privacy, you don't want to be overheard, make sure that you have somewhere where people aren't around. Shut the door on your bedroom, drive out a little way in your car and have that as a private place. Or go and find a huge great big field where nobody can hear you, and then you can even shout. First, what I do is take some deep breaths. And I center myself. I use a simple relaxation or calming technique to connect with what is and what's inside of me. And then I simply begin to express myself in honest language, remembering not to catastrophize or minimize. I'll always have some crafted verbal affirmations on me, and so I can get them out and read through them, repeating them as many times as I need to and adding in more layers of confidence and momentum to the words I'm using. And then as I finish my affirmation, I often put my hand on my heart and remind myself, I am loved. It is okay. I advise practicing verbal affirmations for a minimum of 3 times a day, 7 days a week. And then you can review, see what's happened. I would be so surprised if you hadn't found that the processes mentally and emotionally had moved on a great deal with 7 days of verbal affirmations. And that is the point, to adapt your practice, find new things to say, cross off the things that have become normal for you. Your normal has now moved and you can speak to yourself from that place. Stretch yourself, find affirmations that feel uncomfortable and awkward to say, but act the part. Go with your confident self and say them anyway. The more you do it, the more you'll get used to doing it. And if you get discouraged whilst doing verbal affirmations, take that discouragement and turn it into something to affirm. Admit to yourself, I'm feeling discouraged by this. This is hard for me. It's okay to find it hard. and then you will have re-emphasized that neural process that will help you as you continue to engage with the therapeutic benefits of talking to yourself out loud. So here are the 4 things that talking to yourself can do. 1, externalizing. 2, distancing. 3, observing. And 4, connecting with yourself. Make your affirmations short and often, and don't be afraid to get some space if you don't want to be overheard. I hope that you have found this episode on verbal affirmations helpful. For more insights into mental agility and emotional resilience, subscribe to my channel and follow my social feeds.